Welcome everybody to the Lunch Break Podcast. I was telling you about marketing and sales. Kush Cube, I feel like they're lying on their packages, dude. They have it's
like
CBD
10,
gummies.
10 is actually 15.
No, it's like, but like they're marketed as CBD, but they have Delta 9 in them.
Ooh.
And they're like what, 30 milligrams of Delta 9?
Oh my goodness.
I thought so.
These things are
Enrique introduced me to Kush Cube, and the first day you came, you were like, he had a Kush Cube, and he was, he was helping me with my podcast. and I was like, what'd you take? He's like, I took the CBD gummy, and I'm like, stop it. CBD doesn't do that to you.
No.
I'm like,
no.
And then I just kept thinking Enrique was a lightweight. So then I go get these Kush Cubes, put me on my ass, bro.
I need them.
Talk about a marketing. What's the opposite of it's not a marketing success, but it's the opposite of a fail.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. They're duping people, but maybe that's the intention.
It's like it's under promising, over delivering. That's what Kush Cubes does.
Well done. Boom. I like that. I just turned 42 yesterday.
Yeah.
I'd never done anything. And then I had a client or a prospect come into my office like 2 years ago. And he was like, dude, I know you struggle with anxiety and depression. So do I. I just got these CBDs. I popped 2 of them about 45 minutes ago. Dude, I feel great. No, it was like a half hour ago. He's like, I feel great.
I feel great.
We met for like 45 minutes. And he's like, as he gets up to leave, he goes, I'm telling you, dude, I feel so good. Do you want 2 of these? And I was like, it really helps, huh? And he's like, yeah, there's CBD, dude. I just feel so at peace.
Yeah,
like,
you get the flow.
I'm like, yeah, definitely. Like, I swear to you on my life, he hands me 2 and I go down the hatch. Yeah. What dumbass says that? I do. Like down the hatch, I take 2. 90 minutes later, I get a knock on my office door. It's my parents coming to take me to lunch. And dude, it's like I didn't realize anything had happened. You know, sometimes there's like a delay.
Right.
They knock on the door and it's like, like I am so stoned out of my mind going to lunch with my parents.
And you didn't.
Halfway through, my mom's like, I didn't think you did drugs. Are you stoned? And I was like, I thought it was a CBD, but apparently it wasn't because I'm wrecked. Dude, we go to lunch. I come back to the office. Apparently, I don't know this until the next day. The next day I get a phone call from Matthew Nanez and he was like, hey bro, you doing okay today? And I'm like,
yeah, like why?
Yeah, I feel great. Why, man? He was like, you weren't doing so hot yesterday. And I'm like, I didn't see you yesterday. He's like, exactly, dude. He's like, yes. I had left my office downtown, decided to walk into City Creek and go get food. He runs into me at the mall. I'm not asleep like in my chair with my head on the table. I'm laying on the table, passed out. He wakes me up and like takes me back to my office. I didn't know where it was. I have no recollection of this.
You didn't remember it at all?
Like, you're so full of crap. He's like, how do I know that you were stoned yesterday then? I was like, I don't know. So then I asked a guy who was sharing the office with. He was like, yeah, dude, you disappeared for like 3 hours and then some guy brought you back. I was so gone.
Oh my gosh. What a great way to start the first
time, right?
Was that your first one?
It was my very first time ever being stoned. 40 years old. I passed out in the middle of City Creek.
But it wasn't a CBD gummy then?
Apparently, no. I called the guy the next day and he was like, dude, I'm so sorry. I found out like, how do you make the mistake, dude?
Yeah,
like,
I reached into the wrong bag, dude.
Come on.
He's like, that wasn't my CBD, my bad, dog.
He's like, I swear. I'm like,
then he was like, actually, I got super pissed. You owe me for those 2 gummies. He's like, I have to drive back to Denver.
Yeah. I got to go all the way to Mesquite now. Wendover.
Oh, that's right. You can go to Wendover.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. All right. You had
something funny.
Okay.
I think that we should do a segment or whatever
Yeah.
Good, bad ad. But I think I found what arguably may be the greatest ad in the history of the world. And I want to show you and I want to get your take on this. So Just click this top thing here. I think Dad
wait.
should start over.
The top one right here.
Now.
Okay.
Is the volume right?
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life.
I'm just saying, dude. When he when he jumps off the building with an umbrella, it's the single greatest moment in advertising history.
What is it for? I still don't know what it's for.
Mentos.
What the freak, dude?
So
Oh my
good ad,
gosh,
right?
Great ad.
Yeah.
Why do you think they did that? What was going through the mind of the marketing team when they're like, all right, let's get a little person to like go around and beat the shit out of everybody. Then at the end, he's gonna fly. He took one of those gummies.
With a chick on
he took one of those gummies.
It's all
Dude,
coming
what
back.
the freak, man?
It's it's a pretty spectacular ad.
All right.
I think someone had to be high to write that.
Dude,
How they got-
100%.
Like approval and budget to film that? No idea.
Where Mentos.
I don't know about
Shout
you,
out
but
to
watching a
Mentos,
little
dude.
person beat the hell out of a bunch of dudes makes me want to eat Mentos.
That's right. Yeah, you're like, wow,
Yeah.
this is my spirit animal or something, dude.
Yeah. There's got to be some psychology behind it. Like, have you ever thought about when you're at the grocery store and there's music playing, you're just like, I just want to shop.
Yeah.
Like, it just like gets you in the vibe.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like in a rhythm, you know?
Grocery stores have a weird marketing thing where all the healthy stuff is on the outside, and then they kind
I've
of
never
push
seen
it.
that stuff.
They kind of me either, dude. Me either.
Where are
That's
the
why-
ho-hos?
And they know like when everybody walks into a grocery store, they usually turn right.
Mhm.
And that's where all the most expensive, they have a couple deals, and then you walk through and that's where all the expensive produce is. And then you kind of make your way down.
Milk
and
at the back,
Milk at the
'cause
back.
everybody
Yeah,
wants
because you
that
gotta
milk.
you gotta go to the back to get it. That's why the Costco chicken's all the way in the back.
Yeah.
Weird, dude. That's crazy. You've done a lot of these creative things though. What's the craziest one you've ever pitched?
Man, I'm so bummed it didn't actually go live. We produced it and everything,
Okay.
and then it got shut down.
Oh
But,
my gosh. They
well,
paid
and
for all of it.
Yeah. It's wild because it's for Dixon Flannel, and these guys are super edgy.
Okay.
We've talked about
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Super, super edgy.
Oh yeah, got their shirt on. Shout out Dixon.
Yeah,
Flannel.
shout out
let's
to
go.
Dixon. I want to get Chris and Dan, the two guys from
Yeah,
Dixon.
let's
here,
go.
But they drop new product, and then when it's gone, it's gone. And they drop new products like 4, 5, 6 times a week, and they're selling out in minutes. Most of the
Wow.
time. I mean, it's like a crazy business, right?
Yeah.
But because of that, they get some pretty hateful reviews and comments.
Oh, what? Oh, like because someone missed it or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, stop telling us we can get it if it's always gone 2 minutes later. Like,
Oh, yeah,
sell
yeah, yeah.
more. And
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't think you understand just how many they sold in 2 minutes, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like, it's almost impossible for us to sell more.
But we were like, and because the brand is pretty edgy, the reviews that were coming in were equally edgy
Edgy.
and kind of like aggressive in your face. So I was like, dude, we should lean into these negative reviews. It's a little bit like, did you ever see, I think Struck in Salt Lake did this campaign for Snowbird,
Mhm.
the 1-star review.
Oh no, I never.
It's so deep and steep, and there's so much powder. It's virtually unwritable. 1 star, and like
Yeah.
they blew that up with a
Wow.
and you're like, people who want to ski are like, well, that's where I want to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Liquid
So-
Death did something similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was that same idea. We took bad reviews, and we would have people at Dixon read the reviews, almost like mean tweets on Jimmy Kimmel.
Uh-huh.
But it was like a review came in, and they were like, "You son of a bitch, Danny! you know, you're offering this, and then it's not even there. F you and your
Yeah.
little." And so,
Why did you review that? Why did you leave that on the review?
but we had Danny read it, and then he'd look, and then he like looked into the camera, and he's like, "How'd you know about my little?" You know, and like we just trolled them back.
Yeah, like celebrities read mean tweets about them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
I
then we
love
just
that.
trolled them back.
Yeah.
And it was very aggressive, and there was a lot of, censoring, and
Mhm.
but then right before they got a little afraid, like,
You're like, this might be
is this a little too far?
yeah.
Is this something we shouldn't do?
Yeah.
So
Error on the side of
we just-
caution, I guess.
it's sitting in a Dropbox folder somewhere, done, ready to go.
Ready
and
to
every
go,
so
dude.
often, I'm just like, yo, you want to float that bad review
If we
thing
get
up
desperate
again?
enough,
Let's
we're
try it.
doing it. We're
Yeah.
going.
These guys aren't desperate; they're crushing. But
Yeah.
that was a pretty edgy, fun one that we tried.
Yeah.
We did one for Dude Robe. It's like
Dude rope?
it's a robe,
Dude robe.
but it's cut like
the
a
one that
hoodie.
Levi Lindsay wears?
I didn't know. No, isn't that a trench coat? I think he flashes people at KFC when he
It's a
wears
smoke
that.
jacket, damn it.
Every time I see him in that trench coat, I'm like, "Who you flashing, bro?"
Wait, are we watching the same video? This red one? His red
you're
one.
saying his Only Brands thing.
Yes, his only
No.
brands.
No, this is Dude Robe is like, it's a hoodie. That's
Okay.
that's converted into a robe basically. So it's like kind of shorter. It's got a hood. The sleeves are.
Oh,
cuff.
okay. Oh, okay.
But we ran a whole campaign around
You're good, dude.
around hanging brain, and like just wearing the robe and not worried about what you're wearing underneath it. Just hang brain.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad to say that the ROAS on that was none. It didn't work.
It didn't work.
We friggin' went for it though. But
Dude, that's
yeah,
what you
it
have
didn't
to
work.
do.
Sometimes
Did
do.
you see the do you you live north, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen, if you've ever been down south, have you ever seen the billboard on I-15? It's a plumbing company. It's like #1 plumber rated by your mom. Like your mom thinks we're the #1 plumber.
No, but that's awesome.
And I was listen, we were at this dinner this week, Monday, and I tell my wife, my friend saw it because he was like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm in sales and marketing. He goes, oh, have you seen that billboard? Like #1 rated plumber by your mom. And my wife and him are just like laughing. And I go, yeah, that's really funny. And they go, yeah, I love your mom jokes. And I'm like, wait, I go, I'm afraid that you don't know what you mean. I'm afraid that you're not interpreting the sign the way it's supposed to be interpreted.
Yeah. 'Cause,
They were like, what are you talking about? Like your mom. I go, plumber by your mom? They're
Dude.
insulting everybody on the
yeah. Yeah. It's a little deeper than
like,
that if you catch my drift.
they're like, no, that's not. Why would they put that on I-15? I'm like, because it's really funny and it works.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna call that guy if I'm ever down south.
But I think you're seeing brands get more and more just risky with that stuff.
You have to.
Like, if you're gonna get attention, it doesn't work for every brand. But
No.
But if you can get away with it and
Do
find a way to, there's a line.
It's like
I
a
think,
subtle thing. Yeah.
of you're edging, right?
Yeah,
Like you can only go so far, and then it's too
Right,
late.
right.
So I think you just have to be very careful.
That's hilarious. Yeah. You do. The Liquid Death did it.
Yeah,
They do it all the time. I love when they put their 1-star reviews on their Instagram.
it's so fun.
Or at least they did when I left Instagram like 2 or 3 years ago, but they'll do it on LinkedIn too.
Yeah,
Or I'll get sent at one. There's the one that's like the pizza shop where it's like, come try the worst pizza someone on Yelp has ever had in their life. I'm like, wow, that's great. Where do I sign up?
I'd rather go support that business than like from the movie Elf. Buddy's walking down New York City and he's like, cup of coffee. Like, congrats. You're like,
Yeah, you're not.
it's a shitty cup of coffee, buddy. It's fine.
Well, that brings up an interesting point that I think plays well in marketing and in sales, and that is like air out your dirty laundry at the very beginning. Like deal with objections up front. Deal with all of the things that you know are going to be a problem at the beginning, but when you handle them at the beginning, you get to control the narrative from there. Right?
Yeah.
So like if I know like it's
so true.
you know what I mean? Like at Dirty Dough, right? Like
Yeah.
we didn't have, when I was selling for Dirty Dough, we didn't have an item 19 in our FTD, which meant item 19 in a franchise disclosure document is basically your financials, like projections, like revenue claims. So like, whenever you hear someone saying Crumble made X, Y, and Z, they got that from their FTD. And so when I was at Dirty Dough, that I would actually start the conversation with like, hey guys, thanks so much for your interest in Dirty Dough. Just want to let you know up front, you're probably wondering about like ROI and payback period. And I just want to let you know, we don't have any data on that. I don't know what you can make. I really can't say anything otherwise. But I want to let you know that we have a we have a great plan. We have a great scheme. We're going to help you every step of the way. And that's our commitment to you.
Dude,
In the first 5 minutes, and it was great.
I think that's so smart. If you lean into, if you have the guts to lean into
that's
the thing that you know you could get shredded for, and like you said, you own the narrative, it totally changes it. Like Nick Stagge, that name growing up, unfortunately has two things that rhyme with it. And so I had a lot of kids start calling me that. In like third or fourth grade. And and my mom, I grew up very different from most people in Utah. But my mom was like, look, you could fight it, but the more you fight it, the more they're just going to call you that. She was like, just lean in and even be like, yeah, I mean, it's true. When I was born, my parents were like, whew, that dude's hung. That's what we're going to name him. And as soon as I did it, nobody did it anymore.
Yeah.
So like if you can lean in on,
take it back and
on your,
yeah.
If you don't have enough, I think Danny at Dixon did this. He didn't have enough cash to buy 10,000 flannels.
Yeah.
So then he just said, well, I've got 50 and it's limited. It's exclusive.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was like, I got to get my hands on this.
Yeah.
It's never coming back. And now he's 10 years in, crushing, and he still has that model. But he turned a weakness into strength, and it's lasted him a decade.
Right.
So I love that example with Dirty Dough. And
but
it's just scary. If you're the brand owner, you're like, I don't know if I want to dare. Talk about it.
As a salesperson that uses this technique quite a bit, you have to be really, really good at what you say next, because everybody's already thinking this, but because everybody already knows it, what you say next and how the conversation goes after that has to be almost like you can't miss on what comes next. And that's why I don't know, anybody can use it, and I think everybody should, but you just got to be real careful, because it can turn into like a bashing fest really fast.
It can. It can. And that, I think that's why people don't do it, is they're so afraid of that. But if you're methodical and thought it out,
you can think it out,
and you plan ahead, you can say, if this, then this, if that, then this. And then all of a sudden at the end, they're like, I think people go, oh, well, I can trust them. Exactly. Like they're not trying to hide anything from me. You know, it goes a little bit on the agency side at Grounded. If right now we have a client that's killing it on TikTok and getting killed on Instagram. And at first my team was like, well, let's talk about TikTok. And I'm like, yeah, we should like pat on the back. We're going to keep doing it, but we have to aggressively go attack Instagram. Yeah. And we have to own that with the client and talk to them about it. And I think when you do, then they're like, oh, cool. They're actually on my side.
Well, and they're paying attention. It's like this empathy thing that like, we don't need to double down on where we're good, but also like, the fact that they brought up, we're not crushing Instagram. Let's figure this out. It's just like, you get a lot of credibility. And then after that, it's just a formality. Closing a deal is really a formality. And whenever I talk about like closing a sale, I always say closing a deal starts at the beginning. Like it's, anybody can collect money, and these hard closes don't work. Like you have to be able to like have ammo and show people that you can do it. And that's a great way to do it.
Well, as you're selling, I feel like before everything, not only, we talked about this like from a branding and marketing point of view, you can be a little edgier. Mm-hmm. You can do your bad reviews or talk about hanging brain or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I think that has even translated to just the relationships that you curate with your prospects, with your clients. Like I get on a call. In fact, I got on a call with a client this morning, and as soon as I logged in, I was a minute late, and he goes, "Rise and shine, bitch." Like, where have you been? And I was like, I'm 1 minute, like pound sand, dick. And then we had a great we had like
it was amazing
strategy call. And it was great, but it started casual like that.
You got to be like homies or whatever. I think from a sales perspective, you really got to know who you're like. There's some people I can do that with. Some people I can't do that with. Yeah. Some people I show up, I'm in a tie, I'm in white, and we're very formal. And some people, I've got my tattoo hanging out, and we're swearing, and we're great,
Yeah.
right? Like, but you kind of
See,
got to do that with.
I think that's why you're one of many reasons a much better salesperson and way more successful than me. Because like, I remember I got asked to go speak. It was a last minute thing. I got asked to speak at Utah DMC event. They do
Okay.
DMC marketing conferences all over the country.
Yeah.
And I show up and I'm wearing like joggers and sneakers and a backwards hat.
Yeah.
And they come up to me afterwards and they're like, before I get on stage, they're like, "Are you changing?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, everyone is flying into this thing and they're suits and ties. And I was like,
Yeah.
I would be so uncomfortable on stage that I couldn't like deliver.
Right.
Just, I'm going up this way. And they're like, "Well, we don't really like it." I'm like, okay, I guess you'd have to, I guess you can have me knock it on stage or you don't have to ask me back, but like, this is how I'm going up.
Yeah.
So I go up on stage. The day after, they call me and they're like, "Okay, so after every speaker, we do like how'd they do sort of surveys."
Yeah. You look at it.
You were rated #1 in every category across the board. Would you mind coming and like we'll pay for you to travel the country with us and speak?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like of course I'm in. And they go, "But we really need you to be in a suit and tie." And I was like, "Why?"
Well, that was why
Dude,
you're #1.
Please, like, why do I need that? And I actually kind of like being the guy that you walk up and everyone's been in suits and ties and they're doing their thing. And then you walk up and you're wearing shorts and a baggy t-shirt and they're like, they're like, "What? This dude?" No.
Yeah.
But I like the challenge of kind of proving people wrong.
Yeah.
Almost going in intentionally looking like I rolled out of the gutter and then being like, "Now I'm going to drop some heat on you." And hopefully I do.
Right.
But I don't know. I've never bought into that. I mean, I used to go to Best Buy.
Yeah.
We were doing crazy money with them through GoPro. And I'd show up, sit with the big dogs at Best Buy, just like I am today. And I felt very comfortable and confident. And I just knew all they really care about is that I deliver.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Right.
But I don't know. I have a hard time even knowing when the occasion calls for me to dress up anyways. I'm like,
well, I think
I'd probably lose the deal instead of it. I mean,
yeah.
That might be dumb of me. But.
No. I think to each his own. But I also think you have to work with the clients you want to work with. Like, if you feel like, if I feel like I have to dress up in a suit and tie to get this deal, I don't really want this deal. Because like you're already setting the expectation where you shouldn't be. And I guess that's the other thing is sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll be like, we'll show up and kind of be opposite, but you'll set the expectation up. Like, this is what it is. Do you want it? Nope. Okay. Sounds great. I think the one thing that's really hard for salespeople is saying no to deals.
Dude, it's so hard to say no.
Yeah. But I think it's super important. I was just talking about this on a podcast the other day. It's like, there was one guy who was like, if I could give my younger business self any advice, it would be really particular about what clients you bring on.
Yeah.
Or like easy for you to say $2 million a year, $50 million a year business guy, fuck you. And but then I learned, I was like, maybe he's got a point because this is a headache, dude.
Dude, not all revenue is good revenue.
No.
And I think we're just now getting to a point where I'm like, nah, I don't want that deal. I don't want to work with that person. But one is like the relationship, the personality connection.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so hard. And I don't ever want to sign someone who thinks that they're signing us to be their bitch.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
you got to see.
I'm not just going to take orders.
Yeah.
If that's what you want, go to Fiverr. Like, go hire someone in-house.
Yeah.
But you're hiring an agency because we have experience.
Right.
We work with a bunch of different companies and we take learnings from all of them.
Yeah, dude. I think
you want us to be a partner.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation to explore because a lot of people don't really understand how to navigate that as like, look, because you have to have autonomy. You have to be able to do that. And so are you just really blunt in those conversations? You're like, hey, look, you're hiring us because this, and this. That's what we plan on doing. If we start to feel some heat, like we're going to have another conversation. Or how do you do that?
I have actually fired clients before.
Yeah.
And some of it I think is the personality side. Some of it also is just if they don't want to work inside your standard flow of operations, one client who doesn't fit in the flow that you've built internally can derail everything. For us, we start at the beginning of the sales process. Like we do our discovery call, we get to know them. We make the goal there is like, we want to understand as much as we can about their business,
100%.
how we can solve it. And we want them to like us just as people.
Yeah.
And then when we get to like, okay, we don't even call it a proposal, but we're like, here's our capabilities deck.
Yeah.
And it is custom to them, but we flat out include, this is how we operate. When you work with us, we work in 2-week sprints. It's like day 1, day 2, day 3, all the way to day 14. Here's exactly, we won't break that process. Like you have to understand you're in that or you're not. And and I've had people that are like, I just don't think that works because A, B, or C. And I'm like, okay, cool, man. Like I can point you to another agency.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
Dixon's a great example. I've worked with him for 2 years. We help them on certain things and on certain things we don't.
Yeah.
And Chris and I have this solid understanding. I'm like, Chris, we work in 2-week sprints. When you guys are doing a new drop, you guys are planning something a week from today. And then Danny walks in and he was like, no, we're dropping it today. I'm like, my team can't just go finish all the assets that we had slated for 2 weeks from now.
Right.
Like that's not going to work. And you don't want to pay us for that. You need to have an internal team for that.
Yeah.
You can use us for these other things that fit. And so we've like kind of found where and when we can mesh together.
Yeah.
That partnership's been great.
Yeah.
There's no question around what we should do or what they should do and how it works. But the minute someone tries to break that, you just got to be like, dog, we're out.
Yeah. And I think that is also cool about freelancing. Because you can do that as a freelancer. You can be like, that's not me. And you can sub those out. And I don't know. I'm just thinking about that in the sense of like an independent guy just going like, because if he's your boss, right? If you're W-2 under him, get it done. You got a day, you got 24 hours, dog.
Sweet, man.
Suck, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sucks.
But if you're a freelancer, you're like, dude, here's another guy. See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't do that.
Yeah.
Like you have so much more control over that. And I know a lot of people say you should set those boundaries in a W-2, but it's so hard to do that, dude. It's almost impossible to go that route because, well, especially in Utah, the day we're recording this, did you hear about Pinterest?
No.
Laid off 300 people.
Oh my gosh.
I think, let me fact check this. Go ahead.
This is never ending.
Yeah.
The amount of layoffs that are going on. I realized that where I thought, I'm not going to do my own thing. I want stability. I want something I can count on. It's reliable. It's yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Dude, you are at the mercy of someone else's decisions, whether or not you have your job, even if you're great.
Right.
And at least where I've got my own business, I'm a pretty opportunistic guy, but I also, when you own your own thing, you have like every contingency plan in the book. I know I've got 81 actions that I could take before I would ever have to make the decision of whether or not to close my business.
Yeah. Okay. So
that is a layer of stability that I never had when I worked, even at a $1 billion business like GoPro. I didn't have 81 kind of like fallbacks.
Yeah.
Shit hit the fan.
Yeah. So, okay. Pinterest, back in February, it looks like they laid off 150 employees, according to TechCrunch, and The Wrap, Business Insider, laid off another 150 March 28th.
Goodness gracious.
It looks like pretty recently. So, yeah. So but they've been laying off people like crazy. But I just saw that on Facebook, they laid off another, or on LinkedIn, they laid off another. So many people, they're going crazy, bro. This is fat people. Like these companies are just getting so fat. Like they were like overdoing, right? Like they just got really fat and happy, and they were like settling in with all this VC money. And then, dude, like you're not a number. Like because I've been on the other side of those conversations where it's like one salesperson equals X amount of revenue. Okay, we'll just hire 15 of them. It's like, no, I mean, on paper it works, but not in real life, dude.
Not in real life.
Yeah, not in real life. because you don't have, it's so hard. And then you get to these points in the economy where, like, normally a tech company will run on X amount of salespeople, but then 2020 happens, we get a lot of this VC money, tech is blowing up, you go from X to more, right? And you just, like, the system that you've built can't handle it. And then you've created all these jobs, right? So now you got all of these people who are like, I've been an account executive for 2 or 3 years, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got to lean back to your normal thing. And now you've got 1,000 people who really should have never been hired as an AE.
Yep.
Not because they didn't deserve it. I'm sure they could have gotten a job, but, like, you've got this bloated AE pool now.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going back to lean, back to, like, low base salaries, low commissions, and because there's just so many of them.
Well, I think it's so interesting. I get frustrated. A pet peeve of mine is when someone will go, "Oh, you own your own business? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how big is your team?" Like, that is how many people start to measure your success.
Like, yeah, how many people
right?
you
Like,
hired?
you've got 12 employees. Oh, you must be killing it. And I'm like,
You're like, well,
actually, I did less revenue last year, but I only had 6 employees. And
yeah,
we all walked away with more money than we are this year. Right.
Right.
Like, as an example. But
Right.
I think there is this sort of mentality that the success is how many people are on your team, how many people report to you within a given department, and you're really feeding the ego as opposed to the business, and trying to be scrappy, and trying to figure out, like, well, how do I a business owner doesn't I think a successful business owner is not asking how many employees can I hire. They're saying, how can I take care of the employees I have and maximize their output, so I'm not, like, bloated, so I'm not
bloated,
so I'm not creating redundancies across the board.
Yeah.
But managers in departments, and especially you get to a company the size of Pinterest, like, these managers are making decisions. They're like, I need somebody. I'm going to go talk to HR, get it approved. It's like, did you really? You probably could have spent $200 a year on a software and had someone else do it, and you'd have been fine. But they're not held against P&L.
Yeah.
They're only looking, most leaders in a business are really only looking at top line inside their department, not bottom line. And I think that's why there's a major rift between a VP of marketing and your head of finance.
Right.
Right. Because it's like they're goaling against 2 totally different things.
Yeah. And that is a problem, because marketing and sales and finance, dude, but that's why it's so important. And I don't understand why, like, I got my degree in accounting and MBA in finance, and, like, so it's interesting for me to see the thing, because you're like, it's really kind of crazy. And that's why I've been in a couple jobs where I'm like, dude, we actually probably shouldn't be doing this. And look, I'm your sales guy. I'm telling you that we should stop because I don't think it's good for the company. And I'm like, and I've been in positions like that, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know, man. Like, that's wild, dude. And then it's a fine balance.
But there's something about selling that you're just like, and I hate the phrase, you sell ice to Eskimos or whatever, but, like, as a salesperson, there's real cachet and kind of pride in, like, my guy, I sold that. Like, can you believe that?
Yeah.
And it's, and there's a part of that I don't think we should lose. And but we got to balance it. So when I was at Zoomies, this was one of the coolest moments in my career.
Yeah.
My district won a competition, and I was able to go to the US Open snowboarding event in Stratton, Vermont.
Okay.
And I go, and I'm young. I'm like probably 23.
Okay.
I go, I'm at the resort. I come out of my hotel room and I see, no other way to say it than, like, an entourage of big black dudes walking down the hallway in this, like, tiny little town
in Vermont,
snowboarding, competition. And I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
That's Ghostface Killah from Wu Tang.
Whoa.
And I was like, Ghostface? And he's like, shit, what you know about Ghostface, boy? I was like, dude, huge fan. Yeah. Huge.
Yeah.
He happened to be staying across the hall from me at the hotel. So we became,
Whoa.
he's like, yo, bro, you smoke bamboo? And I was like, no. He goes, you want to? And I was like, not really, but I'll hang. Like, so we end up hanging out with him the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And at
Wow,
dinner,
dude, that's crazy.
but this was, I told this story to so many people at Zoomies,
yeah.
because Zoomies is so aggressive about sales, right?
Yeah.
So we're having dinner and Burton comes up to Ghostface and they're like, thanks for performing at the Rail Jam. You were rad. Like, we have these limited edition Burton snowboard boots and jacket for you. We want to give them to you. Thanks. He's super gracious. He's like incredible with them. As soon as they walk out, he was like, I ain't getting on the mountain. Like, I'm not snowboarding. Let me show you boys how we do this in the hood. He stands up in the middle of dinner at the lodge, right? And he was like, everyone, you know who I am. You know, Burton, I've got these exclusive boots and jacket. Somebody throw me a marker. I'm going to tag them up. You guys round up your money. We're auctioning them off. Highest bid gets them.
Whoa.
So he's sitting at the
Autographed
table,
them?
like Killer Bees, Wu
Yeah.
Tang, Ghostface, whatever. Dude, like $900. He sells them for at dinner. Like, okay, I got 200. Who wants 250, 300, 350?
Whoa,
Boom.
I thought they would have gone for a little bit more.
He gets $900, sits down and he goes, that's how you do it. You sell anything to anyone, anywhere. He's like, you want to make it. That's the lesson. And for so long, I was just like,
dude,
yes,
holy crap.
yes,
man.
dude. I would have customers come into our stores and they'd be like, I love that Nixon watch case.
Yeah.
Could I buy it? And I'd be like, it's $1,500. Dude, I'd get railed from Nixon. They would call us like, you can't sell our fixtures. I'm like, we made $1,500 in the register that day. Like, send me another case. And if someone else wants to buy it, we're selling it again.
We're selling it.
Like,
again.
I don't care, you know, but it wasn't necessarily the right thing for the business. It wasn't.
Sure.
But as a salesperson,
Yeah, it's
it
cool
like
though.
fed the fire, right?
Yeah.
And it was fun. And it became a competition to everyone in the district. Like, who can sell
The
most
craziest thing.
random thing?
Yeah, who can sell the crazy
I was
thing?
like, if it's in the store, we will sell it.
Yeah.
You take a door off the dressing room and sell that door if someone
Sell the
wants it.
door.
Like, I don't
yeah,
care.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's a cool story because that's also interesting about when you look at like the sales industry. That's also why the big narratives are like, you don't need a college degree. You don't need these things, like, because a lot of people from, like, I'm one of them, like, grew up, pretty poor. Like, we were fine for where we were at, but like in a poor city in Iowa, like all my friends, we all didn't have much. And then you find out you can sell that and somebody's willing to pay 30%, 40% commission. They're like, if you get $100, I'll give you 40. Like, easy. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude.
Right. And then you just, you got a little bit of, you can influence people and you kind of like figure it out, because when you're in those situations, like, you're not really, you're just looking like it's a survival thing. Like, sales is almost a little like a survival thing.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll just figure it out how to get it done.
Yeah. Well, and I think you've got to figure out how you incentivize someone is what dictates their behavior.
Yeah. Pay plans dictate behavior.
Yeah. So if you're telling them like 30, 40%, that's it. People are like, dude, I'm going to make bank.
I can
and
do
that's
that.
all I care about. Right. So
Yes,
like
yes,
as we're
yes.
starting to build a sales department at Grounded, I'm looking at it going like, okay, you get X% when you close a deal.
Yeah.
When that deal is still with us in 6 months, your commission increases.
Yeah. Is it like monthly?
Yeah, because a client will pay us monthly.
Like, yeah.
So,
See, I've never.
but I want
Go ahead.
the sales guy to set up a contract that's going to have longevity to it. There's
Yeah.
way more value in that for me.
Right.
So if I tell them like, whatever your percent is, you close, you get this. Once they make it 6 months, I'm increasing your commission 50%. But that means that at the beginning of the sale, you got to set it up so they're going to be around for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I don't know that is the right answer, but I'm trying to figure that out, because I think otherwise you can create a culture where
Just
the
sell it.
salesperson just
it
cares
doesn't-
about
Yep.
revenue up front and nothing else, and like
Top
shit
line.
everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
They end up handing a bunch of wretched clients
Yeah.
with
So-
faulty expectations to the team, and then it's failure.
Yeah. So I've actually consulted with a couple sales teams on this exact thing. You go like recurring revenue for a salesperson. It's tough. That one's tough if that ticket's not high enough. Because if I'm like selling I'm getting 20% of the deal every month. I'm selling like $4,000 deal. It's like, okay, $400.
Yeah. You're like, I got to sell a lot of deals.
I got to sell a lot, dude.
It has the potential of adding up over time.
Yeah. But like,
but initially you're like,
I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. But finding the right salesperson for that is good. But what I've found is really like the way to do that. If you're looking for a recurring revenue salesperson, we used to do like those high tickets, and they would get a certain percent, they would get a higher ticket of the first month and then lower the after that.
Yeah.
But in order to get that, because it had to be checked off, like the sales guy wasn't the closer. Like I would be like, hey, I got this guy, Nick, I got this guy. I've got him committed. He's signed the deal. $4,000 a month. I need you, or whatever a month, I need you to approve it. And we found that worked in a couple places because of a few reasons. Like the sales guy's not the last say. You have to have like a final meeting. Like, all right, Nick, we've been meeting. Sounds like we're all good to go. You're good at $4,000 a month. Yep. Great. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to meet with our owner, Nick. And when you have a small team like this, if you're at Pinterest, this doesn't work. Yeah. But if
your VP of sales isn't even going to get on every call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But at a small company like this, and this is what I found, you can be like,
love that.
Hey, Nick's going to meet, the last step of the process, Nick's going to meet with us. And we're just going to make sure we don't have any, we're going to air out all the farts in the blanket. We're going to make sure all our T's are crossed.
Because all that has to happen is one time the founder gets on a call and is like, yeah, no, that's not going to work.
No.
Then the sales guy the next time is like, well, I already know that's not going to work.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
start kind of getting ahead of it, right? I would imagine.
And it's not micromanaging because but we're a small enough team that we have to like, everybody's going to, and if I'm a customer, I'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to meet with the owner, and the owner's cool, right? Like I want to know who I'm like communicating with. So, but it's not micromanaging because the salesperson has autonomy the whole way through. Mm-hmm. We're just going to meet at the end to be like, yep, this deal checks out. It's all good. Yep, everything's buttoned up. Yep, that's all good. Boom. And then maybe you hand that off to a sales manager, and then maybe you go lower. But yeah, everybody's kind of on the same page, and then you get the higher commission up front. So maybe you do like, on a couple we did, higher, like 40, 50, but then every month after that was like, 5% or something just like, this is cake for you, keep going. But you get that initial high because it's a dopamine hit, dude. I've closed deals that were 30, 40 grand at a time, and I'm like, damn, I'm never leaving.
For reals, dude.
I'm here, boy.
Yeah.
So it is a
landing
dopamine
that
hit.
big deal is so.
It's one of the best feelings ever, dude.
It really is.
You close it. You close a deal that's $100,000 ARR, or you get your first, as a sales guy, you get your first $50,000 month, dude. That's freaking awesome. I've had a couple of those, and you're like, honey, we're never going forward. Right? Yeah, you are. That's
and
okay.
then 2 months of no closing, and you're like, honey,
we need to dip into that. Yeah,
we
need to dip into that. Yeah.
We need the McDonald's app, buy one, get one free.
We need the McDonald's.
Suddenly you're a menunaire.
Yeah. Exactly, dude. But no, it's cool. So I don't know. Maybe that helped, but it's just interesting because you got to find creative ways to like tie people's pay plans to revenue. But that's also why sometimes it's not bad to be freelance or something like that, because then you have a little more power to be like, hey, this is gonna, we can figure this out. But here's one thing that is pretty controversial. Maybe we end on this topic because I always like getting business owners' thoughts about this because I'm a sales guy.
Yeah.
Been a sales guy forever, really good at what I do. I don't take commission only gigs. Like, Dalton, I know you're gonna kill it. I got a killer deal.
Dude, I was gonna talk to you after this podcast.
Right? But commission only, but I'll give you whatever. I'm like, nah, dude, I don't do that.
There's so much work that goes into getting a sale.
That's exactly why I don't do it.
You can't.
And why would you
I just don't think that I mean,
and why would a really good sales guy, this is what I would raise my eyebrow about. And we've all done this in the room, right? But like, this is what I would raise my eyebrow about is like, you got a guy who's really good. He's been selling for 10 years, hits quota, really good at what he does, and he's going to come work for you for free? I would be super wary of that. He's going to come do that for what? Nothing?
Well, okay. To me, it's indicative of this person might not have a ton of confidence nor the ability to close.
Yeah.
Like if they can't close for themselves, why can they close for me?
Right. Like, oh, like commission only, eat what you kill. I'm like, that works in some cases. Like, I guess if you're, but the
If
only
you're
way
a
that
broker,
Sure.
like I work with some, I have a couple guys that are commission only, but it's not like their only thing.
that's right. That's exactly right.
They've got something that's already giving them a base plus commission, and they're like,
Because
yo,
look-
this is complimentary. Like it's an easy thing for me to pass over.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll even do things like, look, if it's a warm intro, I'll give you X%. If you get it further down the pipe, I'll give you more.
Yeah.
And
That's different though.
that's very
Like
different.
a referral or like a finder's fee or like, hey Nick, this is my guy. Can we work something out? Like that's a little bit different. And it's also different in commission. If the only way so whenever I get approached for this, my first answer is no. Then if they push it, I go, okay, the only way I'm working commission only for you is if I get guaranteed appointments on my calendar. If you want me to sell for you, I'm only closing. I'm not
Prospect.
cold calling. I'm not building lists. I'm not doing that. Because if you want me to do that, there's a reason you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
That's hard as shit.
That's so hard.
And by the way, it's expensive. Have you ever tried to pull a list? It's expensive. Like it's not free, dude. Like that's not, like the softwares that you can use, they charge money. Like LinkedIn, you have to buy certain things to get that info. And it's like, nah, dude. But yeah, commission only is always sketchy to me. I always get sketched out.
Well, and I think good reason you should,
Yeah.
but there's also this world where I think business owners are a little jaded.
Tell me.
I think you're a little jaded because you're like, well, selling it isn't that hard. Like I can sell,
Mhm.
I've sold it.
Mhm.
99% of business owners are salespeople,
Yeah.
talented,
be. You
capable
have to be.
salespeople.
Yeah, you have to
And
be.
frankly, like when I was looking before I started my own thing and I was looking at startup companies, I wanted to know, does the founder still sell? And if they don't, it's a big red flag, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Until
for
you hit a
startup,
certain
yeah.
point, right? At
For
some
startup,
point,
yeah.
like you shouldn't be selling.
If we're all in the
anymore.
trenches, yeah. If we're at the beginning, we're all in the trenches. Everybody's selling. Yeah.
And if that CEO can't sell,
yeah,
run for the hills, right?
No.
But for entrepreneurs who've started and they've done it, they're like, well, I did it. Like it wasn't that bad. You could do it.
Yeah.
It's not the same when it's not your company, when you don't have the ability to just like make decisions. I mean, it's so easy for me to be like, do I want to negotiate that rate down? How bad do I want this deal? What other things can I do? All of those are things you'd have to come and talk to me about.
Right. I don't have that autonomy.
Yeah.
And by the way, and a salesperson shouldn't necessarily have that autonomy. Like to be like, sometimes what they do is like, we'll give you a floor. Like you have the ability, but by the way, you have the ability to go down to this number. But just remember, if you go down to that number, you don't get paid.
Yeah, your commission is
zero, is almost nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So a salesperson is incentivized to keep it high, but they know what they can do. That's also a hard one because you got to have a really good sales guy. Again, dude, you got to have a really good sales guy. But that's also why I feel like if you can do that, if you can find that guy, he should get paid. I don't know, dude.
I'm
know.
a marketer by trade.
Yeah.
Now, ironically, I was always over a marketing department until I was like, well, for probably 10 years, I was in a marketing role, leading a marketing team, and yet I reported into the sales side of business.
Right.
So it was very weird for me because I technically didn't fit in with the sales leader who I reported to.
Yeah.
And all the marketers who I was like, I'm like you. They were like, you're not like us.
Yeah.
And so I kind of lived in this weird world. But even when I was the head of marketing at a tech company, I was like, the salespeople should make more than me. Like salespeople should make the most in a company, period. I fully believe that.
Because I did. There was times when getting promoted to a manager meant you got a pay cut.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why most salespeople don't go into management.
Right. Just be an IC.
Yeah. Just, dude, you're freaking killing it, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I always flip it with, and this is fun with marketers, right? So like, have you ever had somebody come up to you like, no, I'll just pay you per lead? Like, would you do paid Facebook ads for somebody if that was the deal?
No.
No way. No, because it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's money up front.
You get those in your LinkedIn inbox all day, every day.
Look, if you're doing that, they're shitty leads. They're shitty leads.
Well, and I love it when people are like, we have cutting edge prospecting
Yeah.
technologies and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And my response is always like, and yet here you are sliding into my DMs.
Right.
Wait, so your technology is awesome, but you're not using it on me?
Yeah. Exactly, dude.
And the responses are always like, well, we are also doing that. I'm like, I haven't heard anything from you guys other than here.
Right, dog.
Hate
Yeah.
to be that guy, but
Yeah.
like, where is it?
And the other one is like, okay, if those lead gen companies, they're also sneaky about this too. They don't tell you that same lead is going to 5 other marketing companies. Right. They're selling it to the same people. Like I don't know. So I always flip it on people. I'm always like, would you like, okay, Mr. Coach who wants me to sell on commission only, I'm going to you give me your 20,000 high ticket for free. And if I get money, I'll pay you. No, that's not how it works. Okay, cool. Then that's not how it works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
great.
I'm glad you see things.
Yeah, I was like,
the same way.
We are actually very similar, boss. That's crazy, dude. But it's just a way to think about it. And I get a lot of flack for that. I always tell people, I'm like, you don't want, and here's the other thing I think to end on is like, you also don't want a commission only guy where that's his only gig. I'll tell you how long he's going to last.
Not long.
1 month.
Unless you get a quick sale. So there are times where
you got to have leads coming in, dude. Like
when I was at Vid Army, rest in peace. It's officially like donezoed now.
Oh, wow.
Even since our last chat. But we hired a commission only. She was a stay-at-home mom looking for something. She's like, I don't have any real experience. She's just an awesome person. I'm like, let's try it. But Elisa, this is only going to work if you get a deal in the first like week.
Yeah.
So every lead that came through, I was feeding to her. We were on calls together. On day 2, she closed a massive deal.
Yeah.
And it was like, Rad, you have cash coming in immediately. Let's go get you 3 more deals. And honestly, my focus for that week was, how do I get Elisa to like close enough that she's going to stick around and make it work?
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to
doing that,
help that person do it, and there's always like exceptions to the rules, right? Like her coming in as a stay-at-home mom and her story, and she's just remarkable.
Yeah.
She was taking a leap of faith on us and we were taking one on her, but then you have to invest in them.
Yeah.
If you're not going to invest in cash up front, you got to invest by giving them a ton of leads.
Yeah.
Being there to
stuff on my like how am I supposed to do you? Yeah. You want a 1099 independent contractor to build your business for you. I don't give it like, dude, I'm being honest, right? I don't give a shit about your business, bro. Like as a sales guy, like I mean, like,
why would you?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I sell like I believe in the things that I sell in, and that's what I do. But like, if you're asking me to do that, dude, this isn't my gig, man. I don't, and at some point, what happens is salespeople and humans spend their time where they're gonna get something from it. Like at this point in my career, I spend time on where I get paid.
Yeah,
like.
That's facts.
Catch me a year ago, maybe that would have been different. But like right now, dude, like
if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
And it's not because I don't like you or like I have 2 babies, I have a house, I have a wife, I have
only have so much time in the day.
I have all. And by the way, everybody has that. My story is everybody's story. So like, how about we just like get to the point? You know what I mean? Like, dude, it's wild, bro.
It is.
It's wild.
It is.
Well, dude, the Lunch Break podcast, man. This is awesome.
Episode 1.
Let's go. Signing off. See ya.